everybody, my name is Elisa. Today we're going to do a I See It, I Want It edition. I'm going to make a dress that has been on my Pinterest boards for a while in different variations, and it is this Rodarte dress that I'm very into. I feel like this is the kind of silhouette that almost every woman on this planet can wear and pull off in one way or another. I really love the little bow detail on the shoulder, and I actually have a pattern that one can use to make a dress like this, which is called the Sally slip dress. It's super beginner friendly. There are no zippers, buttons, or other kind of fastenings. It's really just a slip-on dress, and I'm going to add little cap sleeves, like little ruffled elasticated cap sleeves, to achieve the look of the Rodarte design. I have received a wonderful fabric from Yard Blocks that I'm going to use for today's project. Yard Blocks was founded by Yvonne and Annie, who had a big passion for deadstock designer fabrics and wanted to create their own impact on the industry. You can find new ex-designer fabrics regularly, for example from Hans Zimmermann or Reformation. I chose this beautiful Adobe Illustrator, and I have to say the way this was delivered was also super helpful, because there was a little sticker on the fabric that actually told me exactly what it was. I don't know about you guys, but I often have this issue that I buy fabric and then I don't actually know exactly what type of fabric it is. I have a rough idea because I have some knowledge about fabrics, but sometimes it's hard to put your finger on what's, how the fabric is made, what you would call it, what the actual technical name for it is. This is a French ex-designer fabric. I think it's the perfect choice for my first spring dress. So let's jump straight in. You can see the line design of the dress here on the left side, and you can add or omit the straps in the back to keep it simple or make it more snatched, depending on your preference. This pattern doesn't come with sleeves. I will show you the shape of the cap sleeve that I created later. So the first step for me is to join all of my front pieces and all of my back pieces separately. Then I will add my lining to the top. The cap sleeves are separate. I'm gonna finish those separately and then hand sew them in, because I decided to fully line my top section so that I don't necessarily need to wear a bra. It would be very difficult for me to feed them in while I'm doing the lining, so I'm gonna do those by hand. Okay, so what I need is two of my front bodice pieces. They look like this. If you've sewn the Sally dress before, you know. And then I'm gonna fetch my front skirt, which looks like this. So we have this apex right here, and our bust pieces need to find together with this seam right here. So I'm gonna place right sides touching, and what I'm gonna do is I will find the midpoint right here, and this is where I place my first pin, because I need to leave the seam allowance roaming freely so I can use that later. Then I move over to the side and place a pin there, and then I just pin it flush for a little while to find my ease. Same goes for the front, closer towards the center front. Usually there is a notch in the pattern which I failed to place, but I know that my bust apex is about 8 centimeters out from the center front, so I'm just measuring that here, and this is where I'm gonna start gathering the ease. So this is the ease, and I'm gonna pleat that in small little pleats by hand and putting pins down to keep it in place. And this is gonna give the bust section a nice little lift. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side now. Okay, so the next thing I'll do is I'll grab my lining pieces and I will sew them together along the side seams. I'm placing both sides, right sides touching now, and I'm just going to sew a tiny little placeholder stitch here so that everything is one piece and it doesn't flop open. So now I have something looking like this, and I leave the shoulder seams intentionally open because I need that to overturn everything later. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place a little ruffle here, a little pleat, to mirror what I've done in the show. That's the front side. Now everything needs a good press. Alright, so now I'm going to join front and back of my shell together. So this is my back side and this is my front side, and now I'm going to place them right sides touching and sew along my side seams, not my shoulders. Again, this is because it's easier to join everything later. Because my skirt is cut on a bias, I'm going to sew it with a stitch length of 5 to give it maximum ease, because if I use a smaller stitch length, then it's likely that the bias seam is going to warble and be a bit wavy, and we don't want that. So I'm going to do a big stitch length, which is going to be mitigated with a serging seam later anyway, so I don't have to worry about the skirt opening at any point. It's just so that the tension can mitigate and move around. Now my dress is assembled in terms of all the shell is done, and I have actually serged my side seams. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna join the lining and the shell. I am grabbing my lining and I'm going to place the front and the back right sides touching, so all the layers meet. So after giving it a good press, this is where we're at. Already looks quite neat. And now I just have to close the shoulders, which is everybody's favorite trick. I'm just going into the front with my index finger and middle finger, and then I'm taking the back and I'm just shoving it in. Sorry for the choice of words. And then I'm pulling it through. And now I just need to trust that I placed it correctly. And then I just put a few needles in so it's flat. And then I sew across. And now pull it out. Ideally, it's correct, and it is. And you have a beautifully sewn shoulder. This is the shape of the cap sleeve, and the straight line is actually the cuff, and the rounded edge is the shoulder apex. This pattern piece was around 40 centimeters across, and everything else I kind of winged. I'm now going to prep my cap sleeves. So I have short pieces of elastic here, which are going to gather down the cuff. And then I'm just going to place 2 rows of basting stitches on the shoulder to ruffle that up a little bit. And then I can sew that into my armhole. And then I'm kind of done actually. So the first thing is to serge all around this piece. Now I'm just going to fold over the cuff by about 1 centimeter. We need a safety pin. And I'm going to use that to thread my elastic into the channel. Right, last step to prep the sleeve is to place a basting stitch along the shoulder. A single stitch is enough. Usually I do 2, but for this little piece, 1 is enough. And then I'm going to place this onto my dress. Tiny baby cap sleeve, but it's cute. We like it. I'm done. That was a very quick project. Now I just need to hop out and get a black velvet ribbon, and then I can show you what the dress looks like. What do you think about the dress? I think it's really cute, and I have to say the Sally dress pattern is the pattern that keeps on giving. I don't actually know how many of this pattern I've already made. Dozens, I want to say. Or we're getting close to a dozen potentially. And I actually want to repeat this design. I want to make the same dress again with the velvet ribbons in potentially a nice pale blue jersey, a high quality jersey, to really hit that Rodarte look. What do you think? Let me know. And don't forget to grab your 5% off for your first order at Artblocks Fabrics. This is valid until April 22nd. Alright, lovely people, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing, and I see you next time. Bye bye!